Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we're going to talk about the Magic the Gathering Lord of the Rings set, the most important Dungeons & Dragons Magic the Gathering, the most important set that will ever be printed to impact Dungeons & Dragons, in my humble opinion. Period. End of sentence. All right. So if you're a dungeon master, you have to go over and read every single card of Magic the Gathering Lord of the Rings, and I highly suggest you begin your purchases, your pre-orders right now, okay? Because one, in my humble opinion, this thing's going to do nothing but go through the freaking roof. Rudy over on Alpha Investments is putting on the cover of his, has already stated on the title of his video that the boxes will reach $3,000 a box. Very interesting statement. I think he's wrong about that, and I also question the validity of how he chooses his titles, but he could be right. We'll see, right? So, but the reality is, if you're a dungeon master, you have to read the Magic the Gathering Lord of the Rings set, and here's why, okay? So first of all, if you're a casual, frankly, you're not here. Okay, maybe you stumbled on one video. If you're a D&D casual, you're excused, right? But if you listen to this channel, you are not even remotely a D&D casual, right? So you're an actual real dungeon master. I think that's all that's here, right? Like come on, my channel. I don't talk about anything. I don't talk about subclasses or anything that's easy to listen to. If you are here, you are deep in the weeds on Dungeons and Dragons, right? And frankly, in my opinion, I think the best dungeon masters in the world are listening to this channel, right? And the reason why is the only people here are interested in Dungeons and Dragons at the full scale, literally at the meta scale, because that's all I talk about. I talk about meta, right? D&D meta, and this is the highest rung of the ladder. Period. End of sentence, right? So one, if you're a real dungeon master, right, then you care about D&D canon. Magic the Gathering is canon to Dungeons and Dragons. Has been for a decade, right? And Strixhaven, Ravnica, and Theros are D&D canon forever. There are D&D canon hardbacks that, and then Strixhaven is like, hey, every world we can possibly connect to, we got a bunch of wizards and a bunch of planeswalkers to get to the rest of the places, right? But the reality is, the bond between Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons began in 1997 when they were literally physically bonded as companies, right? And then Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro and D&D and Magic the Gathering were commercially connected in 1997. In 2016, under James Wyatt, they were literally connected under the Planeswalker modules, and then the world Magic the Gathering and the D&D world were fully canon connected by 3 different worlds, right? So the magic of Dungeons and Dragons comes from mountains, plains, forests, islands, and swamps, right? That same magic is exactly what casts every single spell in the Magic the Gathering Lord of the Rings. And as far as inspiration, the inspiration for designing magic items has reached its absolute pinnacle in Magic the Gathering Lord of the Rings, right? So one, if you're a serious dungeon master, you no longer have you don't have the right or the privilege to ignore Magic the Gathering at all, ever. Any set, right? And the reason why is Magic the Gathering is canon to Dungeons and Dragons. And how deep does it go? They're also connected through the Saturday morning cartoon, and they're literally connected through the Upside Down, through the through the Stranger Things magic. So there's connections from Stranger Things to Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, Stranger Things is canon in Dungeons and Dragons because they did a canon set. They did a canon starter box, and they have a canon secret lair drop, right? Canon, right? The connections, the Magic the Gathering canon. You see the Saturday morning cartoon characters in Dragons of Stormwick Isle. You've seen the Magic the Gathering same characters in Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, same characters in the Magic Gathering secret lair drop, right? Which actually is saying, hey, D&D canon exists in the secret lair drops. Like, it's the connections are astounding, right? Like, it's the connections are all over, right? So, but why do you have to pay very close attention to Magic the Gathering, Lord of the Rings? Very exciting, extremely exciting. The best Magic the Gathering, the best magic item design that has ever been accomplished in Magic the Gathering, which is canon. Magic the Gathering is canon to Dungeons & Dragons, just occurred in the Magic the Gathering Lord of the Rings set. And that it is the One Ring. The One Ring is a magic item fully defined within the Magic the Gathering Lord of the Rings set. And it has a mechanic called the Ring Tempts You, right? And that magic item is weaved throughout the entire world of Lord of the Rings, right? The Magic the Gathering Lord of the Rings world, right? It goes across species, and it goes across canon D&D species, halfling, human, right? Elf, dwarf, right? Canon. Oh, and just to be super clear, they made sure not to call hobbits in the Magic the Gathering Lord of the Ring set. They made sure to call them the canon word we use in Dungeons & Dragons, halflings, right? Pretty wild, right? So the One Ring is tremendously, beautifully crafted, and it shows how you take one magic item and weave it across every single species in the world, across every culture in the world, across every alignment in that world. It is staggeringly beautiful magic item design, and it is the most powerful magic item design that has ever been connected to Dungeons & Dragons, right? And when you read the promo cards, the cards themselves, you as a dungeon master will be forever changed and realize that you have never done a magic item design right until you have seen the inspiration that was specifically built, in my humble opinion, by the Magic the Gathering team, which has been working on canon content for D&D for 10 years and has mastered it with magic design in Magic the Gathering Lord of the Rings. If you are a dungeon master, you have to get yourself to Scryfall and immediately read every single card in the set. It is tremendous, amazing, beautiful, awesome, and it is every dungeon master content, because Magic Gathering and D&D are canon connected in 50 different ways. You have to see the beauty of the magic design accomplished by the Magic the Gathering team, who talks daily and shares the same building with the D&D design team, and have worked on multiple projects weaving their worlds together by canon for over a decade. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.